Her spirit had left her body. Someone help me! Jenny screamed, but no one could hear her. She ran to her family, waving her arms frantically, but they were too lost in their tears to notice her ghostly form. Jenny looked stunning in her wedding gown, her smile radiating joy as she prepared for the happiest day of her life. Everyone was filled with excitement, her friends and family waiting eagerly for the ceremony to begin. Everything was perfect except for one small detail.
Oh, I forgot my earrings.
Jenny suddenly remembered. She had left them in the bedroom upstairs.
I'll be right back.
She called, gathering the hem of her long gown and rushing up the stairs. Time was ticking and the ceremony was about to start. As she hurried down the staircase, her foot caught the edge of her gown. Before she could steady herself, she slipped. Everything happened in slow motion. Her arms flailed, her body twisting as she tumbled down the stairs. The last thing she felt was the sharp crack of her head hitting the floor before everything went black. Moments later, Jenny's family gathered around her, screaming in panic.
Jenny!
Her mother wailed, collapsing beside her motionless body.
She's gone. My daughter is gone.
The room erupted in chaos, everyone consumed by grief, too shocked to think clearly. But Jenny wasn't dead. She was lying in a coma, her body needing immediate help. As she hovered between life and death, something strange happened. She felt herself standing up, but when she looked down, her body was still lying on the ground. She gasped. Her spirit had left her body. Someone help me! Jenny screamed, but no one could hear her. She ran to her family, waving her arms frantically, but they were too lost in their tears to notice her ghostly form. Then the door burst open. It was her soon-to-be husband, Daniel, pale and out of breath after hearing the news. His eyes scanned the room and then, to Jenny's shock, they locked onto her ghost. You can see me? Jenny whispered, her voice trembling. I can see you. I can see you. Daniel said, his face full of disbelief. Jenny, what do I do? Take me to the hospital now. I'm not dead yet. Jenny cried, her voice shaking with urgency. Without wasting a second, Daniel scooped her lifeless body into his arms and rushed outside. He laid her in the back seat of the car and they sped off towards the hospital. But fate wasn't done testing them. Halfway there, the car stuttered and stalled. The engine had failed. Jenny's ghost screamed in frustration, her panic rising as precious seconds slipped away. Not now, please, not now. Daniel pounded on the steering wheel. He could hear Jenny's ghost sobbing beside him, her voice filled with despair. He felt helpless, knowing that time was running out. But just as hope seemed lost, a passerby stopped and offered them a ride. When they finally arrived at the hospital, the nurses took one look at Jenny's body and shook their heads. We can't handle this case here. Take her to another hospital immediately. More delays, more waiting. Jenny's ghost slumped beside her husband, her energy fading, convinced it was over. It's too late, she whispered. I'm going to die. But Daniel didn't give up. He rushed her to the next hospital, driving fast than he had ever driven in his life. And there, finally, they admitted Jenny. Hours passed in tense silence. Jenny's ghost hovered above, watching as doctors fought to save her. Her heart ached, knowing she was so close to slipping away forever. But then she felt something, a pull, a warmth. Slowly she was drawn back into her body. She gasped for air, opening her eyes to see Daniel's tearful face. You made it, he whispered, squeezing her hand.
I'm alive.
She breathed, feeling her heart beat for the first time since the fall. The lesson was clear. When faced with an emergency, don't let panic or grief paralyze you. Every second counts.